I don't know that she ever consciously chose medicine. And actually, that was a conversation we had before we started shooting of like, maybe this is Javadi's last day as a doctor. Maybe she's not super stoked about the blood everywhere.
I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. Thank you for talking to me today about the Pitt.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So I've seen the first 15 episodes. So I've seen the whole series, and so great
Wow.
job on the show. Here though, I want to talk about the first 12. So feel free to talk freely about those first 12 episodes. My first question is going to be a softball for you. What makes Dr. Javadi a great doctor?
What makes Dr. Javadi a great doctor is that, okay, she's so smart, but she's not egotistical. She's happy to do the things she's the worst at. Like, she's happy to go into a room full of blood, even though she can't handle that. She's happy to try to communicate. She's like trying all the things she's horrible at. She doesn't shy away from. And I think that's what you want in a doctor. Mm-hmm. Because she'll take care of you. She's not going to hide away from the bits she's uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
She might faint, but
just a casual faint in the ER. Who can blame her? Your character also comes up with some unconventional methods on the show, just in terms of treating patients in just the moment. I was curious, what are some of the real doctors, because you guys have consultants, on set and all that, what do they think of some of those things? Were those suggested by them, or what were those thoughts?
Yeah, they were. Are we talking about the tube and the bag?
Yeah, that was
in 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that episode was written by our showrunner and by Joe Sachs, like our head doctor medtech, and yeah, he had all these great thoughts for me about like the ways she could laterally think and be really fun, and it was awesome having those doctors there. It was so fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you're fine. Say whatever you want. Now, Dr. Javadi has a strenuous relationship with her mother, to say the least. How has that, can you, just in your own words, can you kind of explain how that has affected how she performs throughout the hospital, both, professionally, but also just on a social level?
Completely, yeah. I think I have this I don't know, headcanon, I guess, that Javadi, she graduated high school at 13, she started college at 13, and then she's sort of done med school and college at the right pace instead of accelerating them. And I think that that's really her putting her foot down with her mum and going, I'm not going to live my life trying to be impressive to you and your friends. Like, I want to have, because she just wants community. She just wants to have peers, but she's so isolated and lonely and also because the drinking age is 21 in America and she's 20 in med school. That's going to do something to a person. And so I think for me that their relationship is really her biggest battle of becoming an adult and trying to stand up for herself. And especially in an environment like an ER, which is so intense. I think her mother and that pressure being there constantly is a real, it paralyzes her in a way, I think. And I hope season 2 shows her breaking out of that a bit.
Do you feel like she wears a mask of sorts because of that pressure? Like, even with her coworkers, have we seen very little of, her actual self? Is she kind of scared to be herself?
I think she doesn't quite know who she is yet. I don't think she's ever had enough freedom to explore, if that makes sense. And so I think she's not hiding anything. I think she's too transparent. I'm free Sunday. Hi, Mateo. I've been here for 3 hours. I'll ask you out. I think she's been too open to be hiding anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I think she's just so stunted in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. I know there are often, there's a lot of times where there are those parents that pressure their kids into certain careers or paths, especially if it was something they have done themselves. Is being a doctor something, Javadi definitely wanted on her own accord, or did she kind of start down this path because of her mother?
I think it's so tangled up together. I think she's got a natural aptitude for it, and so therefore she likes. It's nice to be good at things, right? Mm. But I also think that pressure from her parents is so intense that I don't know that she ever consciously chose medicine. And actually, that was a conversation we had before we started shooting of maybe this is Javadi's last day as a doctor. Maybe she's not super stoked about the blood everywhere.
You get a bloody first shift, so lucky you.
Traumatizing, right?
Now, episode 12 has, you finally snap and you put your mother in her place. Can you kind of walk us through her mentality in that moment and what led her to finally just be like, look, this has got to stop?
I think that Javadi, maybe except when she faints in episode one, has risen to today, right? She's not fainted any other times, even though she's had plenty of reason to. Minnesota tubes, down throats, blood everywhere, etc. And I think that her mom never quite sees how impressive she is and how much she's trying, and also what is the right thing in the moment. I think, so I think in that moment, it was really something to yell at somebody in that situation. I was like, how am I going to do this? And the director Amanda kept being like, be louder. Like, you need to be loud. It needs to stop everybody. It needs to be so many years of pent up anger and exhaustion. I think perfect is the enemy of good, and I think Javadi knows that, and I think Eileen doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like wants Javadi to be perfect at every turn, but Javadi's like, I'm doing this test. It's so important. The stakes for doctors are so massive, and to prioritize the parent-daughter relationship at a time like that is insane. And you can tell her I said that. So yeah, I'm really proud of Javadi for like, even if it wasn't very mature of her, even if she maybe should have been more diplomatic about it, I do think that in heightened moments, she's just a kid. She's like 20.
Just a kid, 20, but in this situation, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can imagine it probably felt like once you got into that and did the performance, it must have felt pretty good to really put your foot down.
I'm not very good at raising my voice. And it was a very like, you're mic'd up, so it's like, I don't know. I actually really loved the scene in 8 where I was right about the dilaudid diazepam,
Mm-hmm.
the drug, the spider bite. That was really satisfying because Javadi was right. I think there's something about her blowing up that was really difficult for somebody she's so like held and like beat down in so many ways and small in so many ways. Yeah, I think hopefully in season 2 we get to explore more of her like coming out of her shell in that way. And that might be fun. But it was scary. It was scary to yell in front of all those big fancy directors and doctors.
Now the episode 12 finally sees this big intense event open up with this mass casualty. How did that change? Did it change the vibes on set at all, just for you as an actor, and affect the way you approached your own performance when it goes, okay, instead of a casual ER, now it's like mass casualty, it's 10 times worse. How did that change everything?
It's a completely different show for those 2 episodes. Because it's every day is the same day, so all of our background, the 100 background we had every day, were the exact same. And then on one Thursday they were just wheeled out one by one, and we never saw them again. And then 100 new people came, and they were all half naked, tubes in them, and we didn't know these people, and we'd gotten so comfortable. We had extra cameras, so new crew. Like, it was just a completely different place, and also it was just covered in blood, and I kept not slipping over the blood. It was different. Also, because it was fake blood. There was real liquid on the ground, and there was mats of liquid on the ground.
Yeah.
That they'd made. I don't even know how they did that stuff. It was crazy, and so it was just like chaos. It was chaos. It felt like, it wasn't like the real situation, obviously, but it was going into work, it was a different beast.
Mm-hmm. We've mentioned it a few times, but just with season 2, just hypothetically, what do you want to most explore with Javadi with the new season? Is there an element of her life that we haven't seen yet that you would really love to kind of get a glimpse into?
Yeah, there were some scenes that have been cut with Javadi trying to make friends. And I think it's really important, as much as like the Mateo scenes didn't get cut, like her trying to have a connection with Mateo, but she really does make a real effort with Samira in season 1 that we don't see, and a few other people, but mostly with Samira. And I love Supriya, and so it would be really nice to watch Javadi try socially in other ways and learn socially in other ways, and have that inform how she deals with patients, because I am also the only only doctor or med student, but I'm the only person on the cast who didn't get a patient all season. And I remember walking in on day one and seeing all those the boards and being like, one day Javadi's name will be up there, like in a few months. And it never happened. And so season two, she's gonna get a patient and she's gonna make a friend.
First episode. I'm crossing my fingers for you. Well, thank you so much for talking to me about the show. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to, seeing what's going to happen next. Hopefully it's not too terrible. Yeah.